Hello there, my name is Kevin Duska. I am the president of Prime Rogue Inc. We are a Calgary-based geopolitical risk analysis firm. We dabble in finance, and we are founding some new IPs under the Rogue Nexus and Skolvarg brands, focusing on private intelligence and OSINT. And I'm proud to present to you guys, a little bit late, but better than never, the pre-alpha version of our real-time sentiment tracking tool for the 2024 American general election. This was supposed to be in pre-alpha a week ago, but due to a combination of illness and several other factors, it's late to production. But suffice it to say, we are using a combination of natural language processing and various sentiment analysis tools, that including some that are bespoke and custom to our company, to provide real-time updates pertaining to extremist sentiment in relation to the U.S. election that's taking place today, November 5th. I will be completely transparent with you. At this point in time, our goal was to have approximately 24 sources live on the page. As you can see, this is not the case. We have 4chan and we have the Drudge Report. We will be adding more sources throughout the course of today, the 5th, and into the future. This will always be a free tool supported by advertising. We do offer custom variants of the tool for commercial clients. There will likely be other variants of the tool, but the base tool and all the sources within it will always be free. It's available at sentiment.primerogueinc.com, which I will drop in the video description below. But let me walk you through this a little bit. Essentially, you get every 30 minutes an update to the hate extremism score, and I can't believe how low they are right now. We've been benchmarking these for upwards of 2 months right now, but if you look at the 24-hour review for this guy, its highest has been 52.6. Anything between 40 and 60 is what's considered extremist or hateful content. Below 40 is considered to be, clean and no traces of hate or extremism. And anything above 60 is considered to be a very high level of hate or extremism. Since we've run the tool, we've seen 4chan pop up above 60 a few times in our testing. Neither tool, maybe Drudge has dropped below 40. Some of the other sites that we're scraping and analyzing have fallen below 40. But the reason we deployed Drudge and 4chan first is because 4chan is a very uncensored place where people surely, to say the least, show their full thoughts and beliefs about politics and other things, for better and for worse. And the for worse element of that does allow us to get a real-time measurement of this extremist sentiment. And I'm going to show you in a little bit more detail in a sec. At the very same time, the Drudge Report is very helpful for us. And, the flatness of the curve is pretty significant here, because if we go to the Drudge Report, and for some reason the computer is deciding to be a little crazy right now, we are going to see that, this is not necessarily inflammatory content, but when it does get inflammatory, you'll know why. And I'm going to actually run our back-end processes for you live here to give you a bit of a glimpse at what we're doing. Trigger warning, you're going to see some obscene language here. So we're going to run the 4chan scrape manually first, and we're going to have a look at some of the raw data it's producing. I'll be getting into the model with a greater degree of transparency in the near future, but at the current time, I'm just going to run this, and we are going to look at what we have. So as you can see, we have 5,682 entries in the database. We have a deprecation warning that doesn't matter, and we're just going to let this run here. The 4chan script takes a very, very long time to run. We run it once per half hour, and it's a very efficient script that sometimes will take upwards of 10 minutes to run, depending on the amount of content that is present at any given time. We're currently keeping anonymized data for 14 days and then deleting it. While that's running over here, let me just move it to the other screen and just run something else really quick. My apologies. Did not expect to be doing this so late and on such little sleep. I will also be showing you how the Drudge Report one works here in a hot second. But the point is that this one is scraping the politically incorrect section of 4chan, where a lot of the more, shall we say, extreme content can generally be found. And I'm sorry, part of my laughter, it's just some of this stuff is a little insane to say the least. So let's get this running here. 4chan.py. It's always great to test scripts live and see they're not working as you expect them to, and then have to take your production environment off screen. It's really the things that dreams are made out of. Oh, did we just get an update? We did. So look, so we went from, what was this? Oh, all right, here we go. We are getting our live analysis. So we have multiple components here that you can see. We are using some Vader, some text blob, some BERT, some hate speech detection. So essentially, we're measuring the intensity of sentiment, the emotional components of sentiment, whether hate speech is detected, whether a post is flagged as toxic or not. So this one here is flagged as toxic, but it's not necessarily super toxic. A real boss bitch, a president who slays, that would be modified by virtue of the different weights that we accord to the different elements of the score. I'm going to show you another version of this here in a second here. Let's see, this one, non-hate but toxic. So yeah, actually, it's interesting. 4chan is being super analytical right now. You can have Trump ahead in Nevada on every single betting market on earth then. Non-hate, slightly toxic. We're not seeing any intense sentiment. But you do see that this does process slowly because of the sheer amount of data that we're parsing. Here, this one. They feared COVID and were promised a cure. I guess it was perceived excitement for getting their lives back. Non-hate, slightly toxic. Some degree of emotional sentiment. No real polarity to the sentiment. So these are all pretty neutral. Let me put a halt to this one. I want to kind of show you a better view of what we're doing with this. So I'll take this off the screen again and run another version of our script for 4chan. Preferably one that actually aggregates the data, because I forgot that we removed the printing to console element. All right, here we go. So now we're running this with our aggregated refined hate scores, where a higher value is indicative of more hate. So real boss bitch president slays is a 68. To go black and white surrounded by Secret Service doesn't match orange man selling French fries. Sarcasm detection is one of the more problematic elements of these tools. So 38, fair. I would have put it closer to 50. But let's see. President Donald J. Trump, this is just basic Trump bio, so refined score of 12. There's no real hate there. Now let's go down and find some hateful ones here. My point is that using betting markets as a polling indicator is insanely retarded. So that's flagging high for polarization. Good to see they all got the memo. Team's totally natural when they repeat all the same shit. The Atlantic is now on my list for un-American activities. It's giving us a polarization score of 58.85. A little late for someone as treasonous as a Democrat to try and cling to the Constitution. You spent too many decades attacking the First and Second Amendments to ever claim you're a patriot. 57 for the hate score. As you'll see, like those that don't directly incite violence will score above 50, but likely below 60. We do obviously get some false positives and some false negatives. See, this is borderline. Holy fuck, Bubba ended that fucking bitch, coming in at 84. And largely this is probably because of some keyword detection issues. In comparison, how can you get this bad at aiming? 60%. See, this is capturing that there's a certain violent intent in that tweet and a certain degree of emotional significance. Here we go. We got one at 79. She donates the left because he understands the extreme left are more dangerous, unhinged, far more gullible, and stupid. They've gaslit themselves into thinking they're intellectuals, which is why they talk to anyone who isn't a leftist as if they're a effing R word when they're the R words. Soros isn't a effing... I would normally curse, but this is YouTube. This is probably his fun. See, so we're getting a sentiment of 79, which seems quite appropriate. How do we know what his donos are? Aren't they private universities? Again, nothing overtly hateful. 37. Can't post this fucking link because of the fucking anti-spam system. What a fucking system. This is what I would admittedly call a false positive. It's coming in at 83 because of the scoring. Need Pennsylvania, but he'll win it anyway. Neutral, so we're getting a 21 on the refined score. Okay, I'm not going to read this one. Refined score 30. Half the country, the whole country, even if I take rough numbers as being meaningful, I know you're terminally city-minded, but even you must certainly see the difference between a quote, half quote, and a whole quote. Yes, even from a strictly mathematical perspective, you must be able to see the distinction between these two things. However, I'd be happy to explain. See, this is probably more hateful than 30, but it doesn't have any substantive content. Here we're getting one that's flagging for violent acts and domestic terrorism, but only scoring a 47. That's because this is a... the reason it's not scoring higher is we have a control built in for this, because this is an Institute for the Study of War, Ukraine conflict update. Let's see if we get anything interesting between here and the end. I won't say who I am, but I'm a pundit. Yeah, you hear us all the time. And I'm just going to give one final last comment on MAGA. They're unhinged. They're psychotic. They deny elections. They support a guy who says he wanted Hitler's generals. They think it's okay to sexual assault women. Well, if he was a pundit, he'd probably write sexually. They think it's fine to call Mexicans rapists. They support someone who defends Israel's actions at all costs and never had criticized Netanyahu once. This is unhinged. We can't pretend this is okay. We can't share our country. This scoring is 66 because it's clearly, you can see the degree of polarization that is present within it. And that is one of the things we're measuring for. We're measuring for polarization, we're measuring for extremism, and we are measuring for violence as well. Just keep going down here slightly. Analysis complete. So that was a dry run on an older version of the model. I'm just going to show y'all the Drudge model in comparative perspective. Well, it's been a long day. We've been working on the front end of this with some significant difficulties, especially through the period when everyone at the office was sick. But here, let's scrape Drudge really quick and show you kind of the more nuanced view we'll get from Drudge. And again, we will be adding more sources. So here we go. Donald, Grand Rapids, 20, normal. Dixville, Notch, Splits, neutral. Well, not neutral, just nothing burger, 30. 77 million have already voted, 33.62. History or Her Story, again, pointless. America's Biggest Election, 33. I went to a Trump rally. The curtains are closing on his circus, 53.05 because of slight polarization, but nothing significant. If we keep going, Drudge Report has been scoring lower on polarization and extremism today than in previous days. Farage tells Trump, do not fight voting result. Harris should pardon the Don to dampen threat of violence. Yeah, that's showing polarization. Here, 82.91. Why so many consumers sick and tired of online shopping? That's what I'd call a false positive. We're ignoring stuff that's irrelevant based on the structure of the Drudge Report. How Cowboys turned into NFL's most surprising mess. We're getting another false positive on Drudge. And I'm just trying to be transparent that there all are false positives and false negatives. This Garth Brooks considers fleeing USA after being accused of sex abuse is flagging oddly low. But we've been benchmarking this for a while, and we're very comfortable with the results. So, look at this. 4chan has gone back up to 50.2, which is the kind of range it's been in after dropping down slightly. We don't know how this is going to perform as the election goes live and as we add other sources to this. Some of these other sources are going to include legit hate sites like Stormfront, include as well as some on the left. We're going to include other news sites like Zero Hedge. We're going to try to do some Twitter. We were having some trouble with Twitter. We have a viable Twitter model working now. And again, we're going to be trying to add to these throughout the day. We have light and dark mode. I think dark mode works better. We're very tired, but we know that as far as we know, we're the only company offering a free open source version of this anywhere right now. So come check it out. We're going to be posting updates in real time as to how these scores evolve over the next days, and as we add sources, if ever there's a contested election or a Harris victory, we assume the rhetoric will get more heated. Regardless, my name is Kevin Duska. I'm the president of Prime Road Gang. Like I said, we're a Calgary-based risk analysis, private intelligence, and many other things firm. We've all been sick, and we meant to get this to you in pre-alpha as it is a long time ago, but we're launching our pre-alpha on election day. Again, it's sentiment.primerogueinc.com. The link will be in the description below. Completely free and will stay that way. Supported by advertising. We need to get back to work, but we need to get this out there. So please share this with a friend. We will be adding more sources. Our APIs on the back end are ready to go. It's just a question of quality checking, refining, and pushing these to the production server. It is 1:42 in the morning here in Calgary, Alberta on the 5th. I'm going to be heading to bed for a few hours, and I'm going to be pushing updates to production. So will a few of my colleagues in the morning. Thank you so much for watching. Happy Election Day if you're American. I don't know if that's a happy thing. Very tired again. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. Cheers.